Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Hello, my loves, and welcome to Fly Nubian Money. Me, Lala, international real estate agent and also vocalist. Listen. We have a really hot topic today, which is one that we definitely want to talk about because we talk about money here. So today we're going to address Bishop TD.Jakes, who has long been a champion of the importance of financial literacy and wealth building within the Black community, emphasizing that the church should be a hub for economic empowerment. Now, with his famous quote, "God doesn't make chairs, he makes trees," Jakes highlights the need for creating and sustaining wealth, not just relying on faith and external systems. So in this conversation, we'll explore Jake's belief that the Black church should focus on teaching financial literacy, why we need to shift our mindset from reliance on external systems to creating our own wealth, and how economic empowerment can break generational cycles of poverty. Now, listen, before we move on and I introduce my beautiful queens who are joining me today, I want to make something very clear before we move on. And I will reference this a couple of times during the show for those who just joined us. This is not about any rumors of Jake. This is not about any of that. This is about protecting our financial and earning our financial. So that is what we will be talking about today. So anything else that you want to say, we're not going to address that. We're going to address money. That's what we're all about. So let me introduce my royal court today. We have Dr. LaNée, Brand Your Brilliance coach. We have Shalaye, our real estate agent, co-real estate agent. And we have Sparkle Duncan, who is our health and healing queen. So queens, I am so happy to have you here today. The initial title that we are talking about today is that TD.Jakes says the Black church needs to lead the charge in financial literacy. So I would love to hear your initial thoughts on just that topic. Do you agree with him or do you not? And I'll start with you, Dr. LaNée.
I agree, but easy answer. I agree. I think that a lot of things should be led by the church, especially that one. If we're going to be asking for 10% to come back into the house, we should be talking about how can you increase your income, your revenue, whatever the case might be, to make sure that 10% isn't difficult or hard for you to have. So I definitely think that the church should take the lead in financial literacy.
Agree. How about you, Sparkle? What is your initial thoughts on this?
I totally agree with that. It's been so long that churches have just only focused on like spiritual growth and community support, but they're leaving out the thing that we need the most is financial literacy. And I would love to see the churches start switching over to that, and focusing on their people because, people, we need money in order to survive, in order to be mentally and physically, healthy. Because if we're lacking money, then, the stress causes illnesses. And that's a lot of stuff that I'm dealing with when I start teaching people how to be, get their money right and get rid of the stresses, then they begin to heal automatically. So.
Totally agree. I feel we're body, mind, and soul. And a lot of the times, especially during history, our center was our churches. So why not make sure that center of our lives cover everything? Because listen, let's face it. Remember when somebody got sick in the community? Them church ladies, baby. They was delivering meals. They was coming to clean. They was coming to nurse. Anything like that, especially during times of loss or grief or even a baby. Like the church was around that. So why not make that the center and part of the center of our cultural experience? Because we're already doing that, but somehow we want to separate financial from God when God provides everything. That's just my point of view, but I would love to hear what your point of view is. Shalaye, sorry, I almost called Sparkle again. Shalaye.
Yeah, I totally agree also. I feel like the church, like you said, is the center of a lot of our community-based congregations, like meetings and things like that. I think that definitely the church should head up the charge, but I also think that it should be wherever we congregate, meetings, associations, conferences and things like that. I just think that we just need continuous conversation around this.
Especially our communities. Well, here's where some of our viewership family is saying, and you guys know we don't talk at you, we talk with you. So if you have a comment about that, what do you think about that? Should the church be the center of all things for us, including finances? We have Teresa who says the church has been leading with tithes and offering for decades. So we should be way ahead in the financial process. And then Shirley Harrell said he has a program. I forgot how much it cost. Listen, he did start off with that. What people don't know is that he actually did have a program long before the Potter's House came along. But let's actually hear what TD.Jakes has to say about this, because he is the reason we're kind of talking about this. So let's hear it from his own mouth.
They'll pray for a car, and it's like they don't necessarily need to pray in order for that to happen. How have you approached blending that understanding of what God can do and also what we're responsible for doing here?
Thank you for pointing that out. TD.Jakes Enterprises is older than the Potter's House. So the Potter's House did not create the business. We had a business model when we were in West Virginia. We were incorporated years ago. And through it, we started out doing stage plays. We ended up doing movies. We did movies for a while. We did all of our own books. We opened up a printing facility to be able to print. We did a lot of things like that. And the business acumen has been quite helpful. It has been so helpful that I have been able to teach our congregation the difference between a miracle and a strategy. But you don't need a miracle to get a car. Drug dealers have cars. People who work at grocery stores have cars. We don't need God for a car. We need God to part the Red Sea. We need God to heal somebody of leukemia. We need God to do what we can't do. When you make natural things the miraculous, you also put it out of your reach. And then you give up and you start saying, if the Lord meant for me to have a car, he'd give me a car. Truth of the matter is, I often tell people, God doesn't make tables, he doesn't make chairs, he just made trees. So once he made the tree, what you do with the tree is up to you. And you have to understand that a lot of things we're asking God to come down here and sand and make the tree and put the chair up. When he made the tree, he was through with it. You've got the raw materials to go where you want to go. And good soil is one of the vehicles that we're using to help you to get to the level that you're trying to get to.
Gremlins are here today. Listen, I can't say that I disagree with him on that, but I do want to ask you, Dr. LaNée, why do you think that the Black church hasn't fully embraced teaching financial literacy and wealth building?
I don't think it's necessarily the Black church as a whole. I think it's some Black churches. Like he said, his church does. My church here in Arizona does. I know there's a couple. I think Pastor Jamal Bryant. There's a couple of them that I think do. I don't think that they all don't, but I think that more of them should. I think it's far few and in between. A lot of times, I don't want to say the church is pander, because I don't want to be negative to the church, because I go to church and I love church. I was brought up in the church. But I definitely think that there could be a better job done on the holistic of life, not just make you feel better, not just be a good person, not just follow the Bible, not just do your tithes, but there's other things. There's the story about and I don't want to mess it up, but the master, I believe it was, that gave the people he gave them 3 different things. One went out and tripled it, one went out and doubled it, one went out and did nothing with it, right? Talk about that. Talk about how we're given these gifts, we're given these talents, we're given this knowledge base, and you're supposed to go out and use it, go out and triple it. I like what he said about the tree versus the chair and the table. Like, everybody has a tree. Not everybody, but God gives us all trees, in my opinion. What we do with that is our business. You can go out and create a podcast. You can go out and start a business, a nonprofit, sell lemonade. We don't, and we can. So I think that the church, because it has the ear of the community, can facilitate some of that knowledge and some of that information to help people do better in life.
Agree. And I can't help but to remember, and I can't remember the book and the plan, but years ago when I was in my 20s, I do believe that there was a book that was going around all churches, white and black and Hispanic, all of them, where it focused on financials, and everybody, all the churches were getting together and they were actually teaching this plan. It was like a course. They would do it like prayer meeting nights or whatever. And I just can't think of the book of that, but that was the only one time that I truly remember churches coming together and learning about financial literacy, which, I think we don't do enough. I thought that was good. I learned a lot from that course. Being 20, I learned a lot from that course, and it was based on biblical principles. But Sparkle, how does the idea of financial empowerment change the way that we look at generational wealth?
Well, if we can change that focus from poverty to financial wealth, and Black people go to church. I mean, I believe that's where it should start, because people trust the churches. Unfortunately, when I first moved to Vegas, I was just driving around the different communities to see what's out here. And I remember I drove on the other side of Martin Luther King, where for some reason that name of that street, they always make that site to be impoverished for some reason, because everywhere I go, I see that. But I was driving in that neighborhood, and I just noticed that not only there being liquor stores on almost every corner, but houses that were converted into churches, because churches are business. And some churches, instead of teaching their people, like young lady said, bringing money into the church, should be there to help other people, instead of some of these pastors just pocketing it for themselves, and collecting tithes and offering in exchange for entertainment. That money those people should be at the tables trying to figure out what they can do with the collection of the tithes and offering, and how they can help out the people. And I believe that we could start there with the church, but unfortunately they seem to go to like scriptures and make it like negative, like 1 Timothy 6:10, instead of saying the love of money is the root of all evil, they just say money is the root of all evil, make people think that money is evil. And so when they get money, instead of saving it and investing it, they take it and they get rid of it because of the mental thinking, the mental conditioning that I need to give all my money away. I'm going to give it to the church because it's bad. So they need to start teaching a different way.
I believe so too. We have to, and this is one of the reasons I always say you got to know the word for yourself. You can't just go to church and just let the minister tell you everything, and then you go home and you go, but the minister said, ministers can be wrong sometimes too. And there are also deeper interpretations that we all should be able to study and learn on our own. That's not an entertainment thing for you. It's not going to the movies. Church is not like going to the movies. You have to be an active participant and learn the scriptures for yourself. C. White says Jakes has recently not sure partner with CEO influencer Wall Street Trapper, who teaches financial literacy and how to invest in the stock market. Trap has an awesome program. Well, so does Dr. Boyce here on our platform. Dr. Boyce is very, very good at teaching us even the small things that we can get started. So the education is out there. But we're going to get back to this conversation because this is really good, because we're talking about right after this commercial. We'll be back.
It's a good show right here. but I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. You got to know to grow. And this is a great resource for you guys. Please make sure that you go to flynubianmoney.com and check out all the free resources that we have for you. Shalaye, I want to ask you this. Why do you think it's so important for Black communities to shift their mindset from relying on external systems to building wealth from within?
Well, that's a great question. Our mindset sets the foundation for everything. Everything else that happens in our lives, whether it's good experiences, bad experiences, some things are circumstantial, but the mindset, if we really think about the things that propel us forward and the things that stop us, it's really all in our mind. The battle starts there and it manifests outwardly. So we need to, like I said, continue to have these conversations. And it's important for us as a community to continue to have these conversations all the time, like drilling it, like beat the dead horse, because we have been historically oppressed in this country and kind of in the world. So we need that constant reinforcement until it becomes normal, until we don't have to talk about mindset every other conversation. It is our mindset. It has changed. So I think that in order to shift into an abundant mindset, we just have to keep drilling it. We have to keep drilling it. We have to drill it into our family fabric, our conversations at the dinner table. We have to drill it into our children. Sorry, y'all hear the sirens probably. But we just have to keep doing it. So the mindset controls everything else. It controls the body. Like Dr. Sparkle was saying, sickness and everything. We just have to keep drilling it. Just keep drilling it.
But a lot of people think that's woo-woo. And that's where I have a problem. They say, oh, baby, now you're dabbling in witchcraft. No. No. Words are powerful.
Like in the Black community, especially, we get really caught up in religion. Okay, like religion and spirituality, and which one is the truth and which one is not. I believe that all of us as humans innately know kind of what the truth is, even though, we have books that say this and books that say that. Just do good and try to elevate, try to, Sparkle is a healer. Okay, well, Dr. Sparkle, I need to talk to you. But we just need to just remember everything is not a fight, and we need to pick our battles. The end result and the goal that we're trying to accomplish is elevation on every level. So whether it comes from the Bible or from a spiritual teaching that is not rooted in Christianity, we just need to come together and just continue to have these conversations without letting these other little things stop us.
Agree. A lot of obstacles in the way, but we do have another video that I want to watch, and then we'll continue the conversation.
Okay, can I address this Teresa Young comment right here? I've been waiting patiently. She said some of these members are multimillionaires. Are the members multimillionaires also? Which I think is a valid point, since we're talking about finances and where you should get your financial information from, right? People get paid based on their performance. So if you go to a church that does not have a lot of people in it, then they don't have a lot of parishioners, that minister is not going to make a lot of money. You go to a bigger church, what some might call a mega church, there's more parishioners, which means there's going to be more tithes, which means you make more money. Your salary is higher. Not just that, but Bishop TD.Jakes, he sells books, he does movies, he has da-da-da. So he makes a lot of money outside of the church as well. I say all that to say this. When we start talking about financial literacy, who do you want to learn from? Somebody who don't have no money or somebody who's making money? So we have to think about that. Sometimes we'll look at somebody, who, especially in the church, specifically in the church, and we'll say, well, how come the pastor has more money? How come the pastor's driving a nice car and the parishioners do? Look at what the minister does. If all he does and the only thing he does is shows up to church every day, then I would ask the same question. But if he writes books and he has movies and he has business outside of the church, investments outside of the church, then he's doing well. And that's somebody that you should want to sit and listen to and take advice from. That would be that's my 2 cents.
LaNée, that's a great point. And just real quick, we're having that conversation about should the church be at the helm of these conversations? And it depends on the church and it depends on the leader of that church, because some churches may not even be equipped to have those conversations, and they should not be in the position to be a leader in that conversation. Different people have different gifts.
Interesting, because a lot of times when you talk about the mega churches, they automatically think of the car wash. You got to believe something. Remember the pastor, right? That's what most people believe. And I have to be very honest, sisters. I'm not with these mega churches. I'm tired of seeing the pastors flying the private planes and all this stuff while parishioners are giving everything. And a lot of them are walking away with nothing. But we will address that, because I think it's really important for us to talk about that as well, because that also affects our mental and financial, our whole mindset. Okay, so let's check out this video and we'll get back into the conversation.
We need to learn money management in church. Now, this is one of my favorite ones right here. The Bible contains over 2,000 verses on how to handle money and possessions. 16 out of the 38 parables deal directly or indirectly with money. Jesus talked about money more than almost any other subject, and yet many churches water it down or avoid the topic altogether. That's why I'm committed to teaching biblical principles of finance, because the Bible isn't just a spiritual book. It's the greatest financial guide ever.
Well, the Bible does talk about it, and a lot of people want to pick out certain things and then focus on those, just like Sparkle was saying. You know, you pick and choose your battle. Deborah says preachers have multiple streams of income, but you can make an individual be what you want. They have to want money, right? And some people do rest on, well, you know, I have to suffer in order to be good and to get into heaven. Now, let's be honest about that too. It's mindset. But let's step it back a little bit, because we're talking about adults, but I want to bring in our babies. So how can we begin to teach our children about money and wealth building from a young age? And Dr. LaNée, I'm going to give that one to you, because you are our branding coach. And, you know, we need to do a little bit more about educating our children. Even if we don't feel completely knowledgeable about it, I think we should at least try to teach them.
Yeah, I think that goes back to do as I say, not as I do, because I think a lot of people don't feel that the need. Well, I think it's either one or the other. Either you don't feel the need to do it because you don't feel like you have it all the way together yourself, and if you don't have it, you really don't know, or you don't want them to make the same mistakes that you've made, so you will start them out young. You will start them out earlier. I think which one is right, I don't know. Right? You kind of got to figure that out for yourself. But I definitely think that helping kids with financial literacy early, chores, savings, how to earn $1, how to save $1, their credit, their word. If you have a paper out and you make $50 a week and you run out of money and you ask me for 10, you need to come back and be responsible and say, okay, I know I told you I was going to give you $10 or pay you back, and I don't have it, or whatever the case might be. That's something I'm dealing with my son with right now. And that's why that came up. Me and my mom be like, you can't borrow money and then be like, oh, well, somebody else, I don't know what happened. You said it was going to be Friday. It is Tuesday. I ain't heard nothing from you. You need to, you know what I'm saying? Like, just responsibility on your word, on money, on how to save. And if you know you want to get this, you don't have to, put $20 aside every week so that you can have that $100 at the end of the month and go get the thing that you want. So there are things that we can be doing, especially if we're teaching from our mistakes, things we wish we knew earlier.
But I also see this as a learning experience. If you don't feel like you are well versed in it, there's nothing wrong with you learning with your children, right? Like, hey, I wasn't good at this, but guess what? We're going to learn together. And then, of course, according to their age, you give them assignments to their age. Hey, listen, at 3 years old, I was teaching my son how to put away money enough for him to buy that little trinket or toy that he wanted. They're never too young to learn. So let's take a quick break and a deep breath, and we'll be right back.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
We play because we want you to laugh enough to remember that this is a wonderful source for you. Please don't miss your blessing and your opportunity because there is so much going on in the Fly Nubian Money Club. You can't afford not to be a part of it. So please go and sign up today. Shalaye, I want to ask you this. How can the church serve as a resource for economic empowerment beyond just offering spiritual guidance? We saw that, TD.Jakes had something before he had the Potter House. So, okay, but then people didn't really know that. So how do they mix the two and make it beneficial for the Congress? The parishioners.
Yeah, I think it goes back to conversation. I mean, all of the things that TD.Jakes has done with the books and the movies and things like that, they can easily set up, and I don't know if he has or has not, but they can easily set up courses to do that. They can set up courses in his church because he is good at business. And again, I truly believe that I don't think every church can do this because it depends on the leader of that church. But because he is a business leader in that way, I feel that his church should have multiple courses in business and financial literacy and investing in the stock market and real estate within that church. And that's an easy way. I mean, the church has the ear of the people and they have a large community, a large following. That's a super easy way to get tons of people on board with this conversation and having this conversation. Now, when it comes to smaller churches, that it may look different, but still, if you have a church, you're kind of established as like an authority in the community just by way of having a church. So it really doesn't matter about how big your congregation is. If you are the head of that church and you have that talent and that gift to be able to impart that knowledge, you can start there with, I have a church and this is our mission. You can make that the church's mission. I think it's super easy to do.
I think that is a wonderful idea, but also to be let it known. Now, I also feel like the smaller churches can very well combine their resources with other churches. Mm-hmm. Like we know pastors all go out and have dinner together. Why come our congregations can't come together? Maybe rotate churches if you want to, like each month or something, right?
It's mindset. It goes back to mindset, and we are all humans. So we see this mindset on every level in our community, in our businesses, in our churches, in the schools. It goes back to competition. It goes back to crabs in the barrel. It goes back to who wants to be the biggest. And we've got to change that and have a aura of community on every level in our community and collaboration. And sometimes that does not happen because personal interests get involved.
I have to agree with that. Sometimes we got to get out of our own way, but I think we also have a wonderful video that addresses this just perfectly. So let's check that out and get back into the conversation.
The Black church raises $11 billion a year.
Say that again.
The Black church raises $11 billion in tithes and offering a year. If you put all of those Black churches together, they wouldn't make a Fortune 100 company. The smallest Fortune 100 company has revenues of $44 billion. That's Qualcomm. The largest Fortune 100 company is Walmart. It has revenues of $611 billion, which means that all of these Black churches and all of these Black preachers and all of these denominations don't make a single strong American corporation. So the challenge of African American people together, as you've heard me say, the challenge is not necessarily political, it's internal unity and our ability to work together toward a meaningful outcome. So you're absolutely right. If the church isn't involved in economic impact, economic engagement, that it actually will cease to exist in the near future.
That's pretty powerful. When you really break it down that way, that's pretty powerful. Sparkle, what are your thoughts on that? How do you think that we can shift in that type of mindset?
Oh, that's a hard one. That's a hard one because of the 400 years of programming that has been put on us, where the crab in a bucket theory is still alive, and I was just talking to another young man who was saying the same thing, that he wanted to help out. He was helping out with the prisons, and he had this idea where he was going to pull all these churches together. And that's exactly what happened. They started fighting and bickering amongst one another, and like who's the head, person in charge, and it just fell apart. So until we can develop that unity where we can come together and really, it's all mindset. I was at dinner and I was overhearing this conversation. These two guys were in the booth, and this one guy was talking to the other guy and saying, so you're a multimillionaire now, right? And then I was like, I thought he said he was a pastor. How's a multimillionaire pastor? So I was really intrigued with the conversation. When I finished my meal, I walked over there. I said, are you a pastor? He goes, yes. Hi, I'm Pastor so-and-so. Shook his hand. I said, so you're wealthy. He goes, yeah, because I had some negative interactions with pastors who had a lot of money and they weren't for the people. And I said, so are you collecting tithes and offerings and empowering and wealth, making yourself wealthy? Is that what's going on? He goes, absolutely not. He said, the tithes and offering in my church goes to the people. And he started telling me about the different programs and how he's empowering his congregation with financial literacy. And this is the only guy I ever met that did that. And I said, well, how are you a millionaire? He says, because the church, I'm serving the people. God gave me this information about, biblical principles to serve my people. My money comes from my personal business. He says, I am a real estate investor. And the restaurant was right by the freeway. And he says, I have businesses all along the freeway. These are businesses, complexes where all these different complexes have businesses in them. And he says, all throughout, go check it out. My name is so-and-so. He says, those are my businesses under my LLC. But the church is for the people, and all the money that comes into church. And he says, and I invest in the church too with my own money. But all the money that comes into the church goes back to the people. And we are teaching our people how to get out of poverty because of the teachings that I'm teaching.
And see that we need more of that. We really do. But I and Shalaye, both Shalaye and I, we heard real estate and we was like, what? Because we know that real estate is a very powerful way to put your foot into generational wealth. But Dr. LaNée, you know what? I can't, whenever something lights you up, it just lights up your face. Okay. So I know you have some thoughts on this because $11 billion is a lot of money, and that can definitely change our community. So what are your thoughts on that video and what he was saying about, put together, we wouldn't even kind of compete with Walmart?
11. Well, we would. He said Walmart was 611 billion. So we still have to compete. We're only at 11, but
Give me give me 1 billion and I'll be happy.
Listen, it would never work because there's not going to be unity. A, B, literally God would have to come down here and tap every minister and pastor on the shoulder because everybody has their own vision and word from God and what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to talk and how they're supposed to lead. And I think it's supposed to be that way because I've been looking. I set up under a bishop I've had 3, maybe 4 real church homes. And when my bishop passed away, I have been looking for a church home for the last 2.5 years. And I've been to a gazillion different churches and I cannot find one that I relate to. So I wouldn't even want all these pastors and ministers to be on the same page because you might lose people because everybody, you've got to find the right minister and pastor for you. You can't just be at anybody's church. They can't be talking any old thing. At my church helped me start my business. Like they literally almost paid all my bills the first year of my business. So hey, you got to find the right church. All churches are not created equal. All ministers and pastors are not created equal. You have to find the right one. Because if you get in the right space, like what Sparkle's talking about, and the people at that church, they probably have the parishioners, the people who go there, are probably doing really well.
Yeah. But let's take into account. Notice how you can see how I could hear him talking to Sparkle. You can tell in his conversation with her, he was very proud to say that the church serves the people. And because of that, he also is thriving and he also puts back into the church. If we have more of that and we do tap into that power, we would be unstoppable. But Dr. LaNée, I have to say the same as you. Will it happen? Because a lot of the times people's egos get in the way, and this is where we have the problem. But listen, we have some stats I definitely want to talk about because we like to put up our stats. We don't just come on here and talk about nothing. We got proof of some things. So let's check out a few of these stats. Under poverty, the U.S. Census Bureau states that the poverty rate for Black Americans is 18.8% compared to 9.2% for white Americans. That's double, y'all. Economic empowerment through financial literacy would help address this significant disparity. And then generational wealth, which we always talk about. A report by Brookings Institute shows that Black families have just 10% of the wealth of white families. And only 19% of Black families own stocks or bonds compared to 44% of white families. Financial literacy plays a crucial role in narrowing this wealth gap. A 2022 National Financial Educators Council survey revealed that only 33% of Black adults in the U.S. feel confident in their financial knowledge, highlighting a gap in financial education within the Black community. And finally, entrepreneurship and wealth. According to American Express, 24% of Black Americans are entrepreneurs, a rate higher than the national average. But Black-owned businesses are still undercapitalized. Less than 2% of Black entrepreneurs receive venture capital funding, which makes financial literacy even more crucial for building sustainable businesses.
So,
all right.
Can I say that I hate stats like that? And I usually don't curse in here, but I'm gonna say those stats are bullshit. And the reason why they're bullshit is because they only tell a part of the story, right? They use these statistics and these numbers to act like Black people have it bad, and we do, but say why we do, right? White folks got better education. They're coming from two-parent homes. They have financial literacy in the home. They don't have to go outside of the home. Somebody transferred wealth to them. They came with money. They got a 400-year head start. When we see these stats like that, they drive me crazy because it positions it as if all you need is financial literacy. No, financial literacy, funding, a leg up, a 400-year start. It's more than just financial literacy. You need more than that. So I think I'm taking my answer back. It shouldn't be in the church. It should be at home. It should be in the schools. It should be everywhere that a Black person goes. Understanding finance, stock, credit, it should be everywhere because that's what they have in those other communities. It's not just the literacy. It's sitting at the dinner table talking about the stock market. It's sitting around, it's understanding, and it's passed down from generations.
Yep, I totally 100% agree with that. And that's what I was saying. It should be anywhere that we are. Anywhere that we are meeting, anywhere that we are congregating, anywhere that we're going to be together in a space of 3 or more, we need to be talking about this, and we need to make it intentional. Like, hey, we getting together on Friday night, we're doing game night, and we're going to do that for 2 hours. And then after, or an hour before or an hour after, we talking about how we getting into stocks. We're talking about how we're helping people get into home ownership. We're talking about how we're like, oh, what is Bitcoin? Like, what is it? A lot of people don't even know what it is. And I'm still confused about cryptocurrency and things like that. There's so many reasons why we hold tight to our money. It's because we, as a whole, not all of us, and we're not a monolith, but we hold tight and we don't move a lot of times. And I'm saying this from experience in some things, like, because we're afraid of losing it. Because if we lose it, that could be it. You know what I'm saying? And not having that safety net. So there's so many conversations to have around it, but it should be wherever we congregate.
Can I say something? Where do we start though? Where do we start? Because right now we don't have that mindset yet. And people cannot move. Our people cannot move out of being stuck unless the mindset is changed, and they're getting this negative programming from the church. And
we got to start each individual in our home.
Yeah. So if the home has, where money is taboo and they don't speak on it and they don't know anything about financial literacy. If we do start at the churches, even the churches that are not mega churches, they can go out into the community and bring speakers into the community or have classes and have someone else come in and teach the people, and then as we start loosening up the way that we think, and if they start preaching, there's so many scriptures in the Bible that teach not poverty, not negative teaching, the camel one, where it's easier for a camel to walk through the eye of a needle. They talk about all that and people are afraid, than a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. What that scripture is saying is not that you're not supposed to be wealthy. It's saying, think about where your mind is, that should be interpreted as prioritize your spiritual values over material wealth. Because if your mindset begins to be only about wealth and how much more money can I get, you're going to end up like somebody that's on trial right now, killing people and doing all kinds of stuff for money. You don't want to do that. You think about all the positive sayings in the Bible, like Proverbs 13:22, that talks about, how God loves his children and how much he wants us to be wealthy. Deuteronomy 8 says, God is the person, the entity who gives the ability to produce wealth. He gives us the ability and we have to want it. He's empowered and enriched. How many of his people, Job, Solomon, Abraham, Joseph, Boaz,
but that goes back to what TD.Jakes did say. I don't mean to interrupt, but he did say God provides the tree. He gives us the resources. Then we have the imagination to go and make it into something, right? So we're going to take a quick break though, because we really have tapped into this, and we need to take a quick commercial, and then we'll be right back.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
Probably I'm looking for you. I don't shop at them places that don't want my money. And obviously, those places are now suffering because they are trying their best to get us back. All right.
Nope.
I ain't going back. So I need to look and find where these holes that I'm missing, hair products, skin products, all sorts of things, educational products. If you got it, you need to get in the directory. It's free. So send us all of your information. We are putting this together. info@realvirtual.net. I do mean all. Don't send us no half poo-butt information where people cannot find you. We want your name, address, telephone number, email, website. Send us a bio. We want it all. So send it in to info@realvirtual.net. Do not miss your blessings, babies, because this is one that may just bless you a little bit more than you thought that it would. Now, listen, we are definitely talking about mindset. And I think that's a very important thing for us to kind of continue to talk about, because for some reason, we're not connecting body, mind, and spirit. We hear body, mind, and spirit. You hear that all the time, but where is the financial within that? Why do you think that we leave that part out? Shalaye, I'm going to throw that to you. Why do you think that it is that we talk about the body, mind, and spirit, but financial just kind of lingers in the background?
I feel that we want it. I believe that we want it. We all want abundance, right? And financial abundance. We want that. But I feel like we spend so much of our time and our energy in survival mode to where we're not getting to the point where it is second nature, and that's what we're focusing on. We're splitting our focus between, kids and working a couple different jobs and doing a hustle and starting the business and paying the mortgage and everything, and not having the village of support to where you can say, okay, I can breathe now. Let me think about the future. Let me think about the next generation. Let me think about how I can use what I have, as little or as big of a pot of money that I have, and make it bigger. And where do I need to tap into? Who do I need to talk to actually learn about that? Because a big part of this is that we don't know where to go get the information. Another big part of it is that there's so much information out there. Sometimes you get analysis paralysis. Like, okay, I done heard this and this and this and that. Okay, so which way should I go? So you know what? I'm just going to stand still until God tells me that that's the direction I should go in. It's a lot. There's a lot of different variables that go into why we do what we do psychologically. But I know for one thing, like me going to the All Black National Convention, my first time was 2023. My second time last year, it forced me, and it felt so wonderful. It forced me to think about that more. I think about it all the time. I think about it all day, every day, but it forced me to think about that. And then just being in the room with other people who are also thinking about those things and thinking in those ways, it's a game changer. So again,
Yes.
We need to keep congregating and keep talking about it, because
get in that right tribe. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
the tribe. If we keep doing that, it will become second nature. We have the ability, if we have children or if we have nieces and nephews and they're young, we have the ability to influence them so that for them, it's second nature and they're not trying to piecemeal and guess like we are. Because we're all successful and wonderful in our own right, but we still are aspiring to something, obviously, right? We're still like hustling or aspiring to something. So that means we haven't figured it all out yet, but we have the power within us to do that for this next generation coming up. So they're not having to piecemeal, and it's not going to take them as long as it's taking us to get it all together.
I have to bring in this topic too, guys, because I see this on both sides of they call it both sides of the pond. When I'm in America, I see so much consumerism in our communities. You know, oh, the Air Jordans out, they cost $1,000, baby. They gonna wear them $1,000. I'm talking about directly our community, our Black community, you know, or they want to have the gold chains. They want to put those grills in their mouth. You know, those things cost a lot of money. We are big when it comes to consuming and not so much of spending. Now, when I'm in Portugal, those people live very simple. They live very simple. They happy to have a roof over their head, maybe one TV in the house. You're lucky, honestly, in a lot of the places, and this is not because of poverty, just because of the environment. A lot of them don't even have heat for the winter because it's just that kind of country. You know, it's not because they're poor. It's just because of the environment. If they don't need it, they don't buy it. So I see a problem with our Black community trying to compare themselves with the Joneses too much. And I want to talk to you about that, Dr. LaNée, because you understand this, you know, with, you know, branding and everything like that. How do you feel about the imbalance of the consumerism compared to financial literacy?
Oh, that's a really good question. Trying to keep up with the Joneses is definitely a part of their ice water is colder. When you have more, you look like you're worth more. When you drive a certain kind of car, you look like you have more value. The Joneses are doing it. And I think I was talking about this on Tuesday. You don't know what's going on in the Joneses' house. People will drive a Mercedes and pull up to an apartment. I don't understand that, me personally. And no shade to anybody that does it, but I'm not going to have a Mercedes before I have a house. But that's me. Folks will not have no money in their bank account and be sitting out at a dinner, spending $200-$300 just to look cool on a credit card, and they can't pay their lights. Like, but I don't know if that has to do with financial literacy or self-worth, right? That goes back to the keeping up with the Joneses type of a thing. Let me tell you, if I can't go, the answer is no, or you got me, or whatever the case might be, right? I think that when you're younger, I think it's worse when you're younger. I think you get older and you kind of grow out of it. I think in this current social media world that we live in, where everybody has to, you know, showing an angle, showing something to make it look like they're someplace doing something, I think that plays a negative role in it, and it feeds into it. So I think, so the question then becomes, if you have financial literacy, would you be better? Would you not worry about it? Would you not do it? Would you not keep up with the Joneses? Or does it just mean now you know how to have money? I don't know. I would hope that it means that A, you go out and make more money. You put your money where it's supposed to be, stocks and so forth. B, you use it to invest and to live a good life. And then C, you use it to teach somebody else. That you don't have to try to keep up with anybody else. You have your own race. You can't look like what they look like. You can't do what they do. You have your own. What are you supposed to do? What are you called to do? Are you a servant leader? Are you supposed to be making investments in other people? Are you supposed to be sharing? Like if we just ran our own race and focused on ourselves, we would do so much better. Can we have a community that way? We can, because if you focus on yourself and your race and what you're doing, you would then see, oh, I'm supposed to be helping the needy. Oh, I'm supposed to be helping the youth. Oh, I'm supposed to be helping single moms. Oh, I'm supposed to be. If you actually focused on yourself and not was worried about other people, you would literally probably be more connected to what you're supposed to be doing. You're calling instead of trying to compete with this person. That might be the person you're called to serve and to help.
I agree. And, you know, I can't tell you how many times I've had people roll up in Lamborghinis and Maseratis and up to my office, and they want to buy this $1 million house. But baby, when they get in there, they have absolutely, their credit is shot. They have nothing. They are so worried about looking like that they are wealthy and have than actually being wealthy. Because let me tell you one of the secrets about the wealthy. A lot of times someone will walk past you and look homeless, and baby, they got millions in the bank because their priorities and their mindset is different. But we have another video I want us to watch before we round this out. Let's check this out.
And required donations per year. Peterson says she was told the fees help pay off church debt.
What church charge you to, you know, help pay off what they're going through? I'm not there for that.
And many seem to be agreeing with Peterson, taking to the church's Facebook page to voice their concerns. A church administrator acknowledged the letter came from them. They also told us the pastor was unavailable. We still left several messages and have not heard back. In the meantime, Peterson is searching for a new church.
It's like you put me like, oh, if you want to be a member of this church, you need to pay this.
Or if you want to find God.
Yeah, if you want to find God. That don't say anything about that in the Bible.
And again, that was our Cameron Poland reporting. Peterson, meanwhile, says she has no plans to reach out to the church, and the pastor still has not responded to our calls.
Gee, I wonder why. Now, look at all of our faces. Look at all of us. All of us came back with that, right? All of us. We all.
Who do you blame in that situation? That's what I want to know. Who's at fault?
I'd like to know, because this is where we have the miscommunication, and this is where to me, this is where people get their idea. They hear all these bad things like this. There was a church in Louisville, Kentucky, baby. My hometown was one of the first big mega churches that required you to give them your taxes so that they would know how much did you make in order that you would have to tithe. Why do you believe that we can't get it together to educate our people and not just be what people see like the car wash minister? I'd like to know why we can't have that balance. The church is supposed to be for healing in all forms, not more punishment. But where is the balance? But we are going to actually have our final thoughts about this, but we couldn't have ended the show without at least bringing that element in. I'm going to ask for your final thoughts. Please keep them fairly short, and also let us know where we can find you. We'll start with you, Sparkle.
I think it all starts with mindset. I remember when I was living in an all totally white neighborhood, and then one guy down the street bought a boat and parked it in the driveway. And then 3 doors down, that guy bought a boat, and then Kenny bought a boat. And I'm like driving through the neighborhood. It's like, how do I know that these people can afford these boats? Just because, keeping up with the Joneses. So it's a mindset, period. And I believe that it's all it boils down to self-esteem. So we have to raise, as far as us Black people, foot has been on our neck for many, many, hundreds of years. So when we get a little bit of money, we feel like we have to massage our self-esteem, make ourselves feel better. So it's like we want everybody to see, look what I have, look what I have. I have the latest Gucci bag, or I have the Jordans, the latest Jordans. And they're not thinking about actually saving their money and growing, because they're not been taught anything. That's why I really love this program right here, because we have to start somewhere. And I believe in the future it's going to mushroom out. And more of us are going to be able to change our mindset. And once we have that paradigm shift and start realizing that money is just energy. And once we change our mindset and believe that we are already whole, we are already wealthy, and God is just waiting to bless us, just like he blessed the different people in the Bible that loved him. You love God. God is not going to just give it to you. He's going to, bless you with it. He wants us to be wealthy. And I think the churches should teach that. And if they don't have the money to actually have programs, wealth building programs, then I think they should go out to the community to get help and have people to come into the churches and teach their people how to be wealthy, how to save their money, and have that mindset shift that we're already brilliant people. You can find me at the moment at Spark Charm Wellness, and that's on Instagram. But look forward to the future. I'm going to have a really banging YouTube channel that's going to show you guys a lot, not just about health and wellness, but about the things that we're talking about right now. So I'm going to be in the game to help us to grow and monetize our brilliance. Can't hear you.
Oh, gremlins. I said, look at how your face just completely lit up when you talked about your YouTube channel and what you want to do. Baby, if that ain't walking in your life purpose, I don't know what is. Your face needs to match what you're saying. All right, Shalaye, what is your final thoughts and where can we find you?
Oh my goodness, coming off of that last video, I had so many thoughts. I'm like, wait, what was my final thought? So as far as what we've been talking about, as far as the church being at the helm of financial literacy and empowerment in the community, I believe that two things can be true. I believe that that can happen and that could work in some spaces. And I believe that other churches may not be equipped to head that up. You have to have that personal responsibility, whoever's the leader of that church, be able to do that. I believe that. So it's like, where do we start? And I know Charm said, Sparkle said, where do we start? And I do believe we individually, all of us, have to start within our own homes, at our own desk or kitchen table. Maybe we each of us write an internal memo for us individually or our family, a manifesto of this is where I am right now, and this is what I hope to accomplish, and what do I need to do to get there? And a lot of times that question, you may not be able to answer that right now because you don't know how you can get there. But if you start asking the questions, again, it's a mindset. If you start asking the questions of how can I get there, then you're going to start seeking out those answers. So that last video kind of blew me, but just to, sum it up, that's my final thought. Our own internal manifesto at our kitchen table, in our office. What do we plan to do? Because that's the only way that we can really change this. We can talk about coming together collectively and doing all of these things. But like LaNée said, if God himself came down and was like, y'all all need to do it, ain't nobody all doing it. So we each individually have to do it for ourselves. And then when people see that you do it, there are going to be people who want to come and ride that boat. And that's your tribe, and those are the people that you can help. And that was your ministry in life. I am Shalaye Camillo from Boston, Massachusetts. I am the owner and CEO of Vital Source Realty. I can help you buy or sell real estate anywhere in the continental United States and Canada. So you guys can find me on Instagram at Shalaye Camillo and on YouTube at Shalaye Camillo.
I think she's saying, great job, Shalaye.
Gremlins. Listen, y'all know y'all need to expand your minds about real estate. You don't necessarily have to buy in the United States. So, hey, Make sure that you put that in your spirit and get out that box. All right, Dr. LaNée, can we please have your final thoughts and where we can find you?
Yes, and I'm going to keep it quick. I wrote it. It was long at first, but then I just made it short. What I'm going to say is the church and the pastor are two different things. They're two different people. The church is there to do a thing, and the pastor is there to do a thing. The pastor is just a man. We often confuse the church and the pastor, and we combine them. These are two different people. So if a pastor has money and makes money and becomes doing what his thing, business and whatnot, that's his business. That's what he do. That's on the side. It's not necessarily the church. So I think one of the things we have to do is just get away from putting the church and the pastor in the same. The pastor is a man. He put his pants on one leg at a time. Now, should the church be what it's supposed to be in the Black community and help us with our financial literacy? Absolutely. But don't wait for the church. Do it yourself. There is YouTube. It is free. You have the Fly Nubian Money Club. 30 days of it is free. You have Dr. Boyce. You have business coaches. You have financial coaches. You don't have to wait on somebody to save you, as Tiara says. I'm here to save you. I'm coming to save you. Save yourself. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for anybody to come and save you. You can literally get started today. And if you can't save yourself, save your children. Help them out, right? So that's what I would say. Should the church do it? Absolutely. Do you have to wait on the church? No, you do not. I am Dr. LaNée Javette. You can find me at I am Dr. LaNée Javette, Brand Your Brilliance Monetization Strategist.
Simple, easy breezy. Y'all, please. She's got you on lock. And if you don't believe it, you better go check out and find out for yourself. Okay. Now, this is what Lala has to say. Don't talk about it. Be about it. We stood up here and talked about, well, what can we do? What can we say? The churches need to blah, 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 blue, blue, blue. Hey, why don't you take what you know with your knowledge and your wealth and go to these places of worship and say, listen, if you are a financial expert, offer to have free classes. Take an outline of what you can teach people with that and work with the pastor if they want to help put in biblical principles. You ain't got to wait on nobody. Maybe you missing your own blessing by not stepping out on faith. and also putting yourself out there to help our communities. Now, where can you find me? You can find me at my website. I put everything there. It's at www.laurakey.net. I'm an international real estate agent. I specialize in Portugal. If you are interested in thinking about getting out of the States, it is possible. So I do have a beautiful quiz there that will help you assess where you are on moving out of the country, because that's, again, mindset. You kind of got to know the process of where you are. Is it impossible? Better get on out here and experience this world that God gave us, because it's a beautiful place. Now, listen, we talked about a lot of stuff. We had a lot of comments. We appreciate each and every one of our viewers and our family. I can't name you all today because they were flying through the comments, but we love you and we appreciate you. Without you, we would not have a show, and we are grateful for you. So thank you for joining us today as we unpack the vital role of financial literacy and economic empowerment in the Black community. Now, Bishop T.D.Jakes has been a powerful advocate for using our faith to build wealth and break free from the limitations that are placed within us. As we move forward, let's continue to support each other in building financial foundations that empower us for the future. Remember, wealth isn't just about money. It's about creating opportunities for the next generation. So stay strong, stay empowered, and keep building. We will see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Monday to Friday. Y'all don't miss it. We'll see you tomorrow on Blackout Friday. Bye.